Sweat Equity Podcast and Streaming Show, pragmatic entrepreneurial advice with dick jokes. I'm your host, Lost Smith. Sitting to my right, your left, number 4 on your programs, number 1 in your hearts, Eric Redinger.
Where'd you get that number from? Nobody cares.
I don't know. I'm silly like that. I'm a silly goose sometimes. This episode is brought to you by Grasshopper. Try grasshopper.com/sweat. Gets you $75 off an annual plan. Business phone line, Google Voice numbers. Don't be a jabroni with those. Get a business phone line that's a scalable business phone system that you can separate your personal from your business life.
Yeah.
What's the worst thing when you call someone and they have this like side hustle, or they have their own personal phone for their business? Do you call
so much blood? I don't know what to do.
Right, you call and they go, "Hello, who dis?" And you're like, "Is this the business I was trying to call to give my service?"
Thing though.
You guys do services? Grasshopper. Try grasshopper.com/sweat. Gets you $75 off an annual plan. You don't need to get another cell phone like a burner drug dealer back in the day. You can get another little app. I have it on my desktop too. Someone texts me, I can hit them back right there.
That's key.
Like messages.
Big deal.
Mm-hmm. That's Grasshopper. Try grasshopper.com/sweat. Gets you 75 bones off an annual plan. Our feature sponsors, Warby Parker, warbyparkertrial.com/sweat. Like Key Sweat. Gets you 5 free pairs to try on at home. Like these glasses I'm wearing if you're watching this on YouTube, Facebook, or Vimeo, or LinkedIn, or Twitch, or all those other sites that have.
Not on Twitch, so don't go there.
Okay. Other thing, Pornhub, OnlyFans, Pornhub, Cameo. We're all in all of it. ExpressVPN. You want to anonymize web searching?
Yeah.
You want to not worry about your browser history when you die? Try expressvpn.com/sweat. Gets 3 months free off an annual plan. Don't be a jabroni with all the
die within 3 months.
I know. I can't stop using jabroni and everything.
I know.
In the ad reads. But get 3 months if you use tryexpressvpn.com/sweat. And then listen to us on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, rate, review, subscribe, tell a friend. That's the best way to help this show out. And watch us on the the aforementioned YouTube, Vimeo. Am I having a stroke?
Yes.
And then, yeah. Are you ready to get this started with Keith Daubmann of My Shower Door?
Yeah.
In episode 270?
Nope. 271.
271, yes. Let's get it going.
Okay.
Howdy, Toddy.
What about my sweat equity? Sweat equity. Sweat equity. My sweat equity. My sweat equity. What about my sweat equity?
Keith, welcome back on. We had such a weird ending to our last conversation. It felt like we could talk to you for a while, or at least debate some topics. If anybody's listening that wants to go back to an episode, it's 266, where we had a lot of conversation about compromise versus negotiation. I guess we semantically.
How did it end weird? I don't remember it ending weird.
It ended, no, not weird, but I mean, that part ended. I shouldn't say the episode ended that way. I think that conversation about just philosophically kind of was open-ended.
Oh, okay. I got you. Okay.
Not that we have to beat a dead horse or anything, but I do find it.
I do find it interesting. On it
well, yeah, I find it interesting that since then you've sent us more thoughts, and so that's why I was like, well, let's just have you back on because it's an interesting conversation.
I want to preference this that these things that I've recently learned in my negotiation. I think there's a big difference between negotiation and bargaining too. I don't want to get those confused, but I've recently learned over the last year and a half from a company called Black Swan Group, and the person who runs this company is the former FBI lead negotiator domestically and internationally for all kidnapping, hostage taking, and he really honed in these skills over like a 24-year period regarding like the neuroscience between communication and obviously negotiations, and how do you compromise with a kidnapper, right? He's got 2 hostages and $1 million. And you're saying, we'll take one and we'll give you $5 and an Uber instead of a price. You just can't compromise. And when I really started listening to how he described the differences, or the direct reasons why you wouldn't want to compromise, I recently heard him tell one about Colin Kaepernick, and I think I said that to you guys, and I just wanted to bring it up again. No matter what side you're on with the Colin Kaepernick kneeling saga, disrespecting, respecting, whatever it is, whatever side you're on, Colin Kaepernick started his boycott or whatever, not even going on the field. It wasn't until a special black ops, like former soldier, went and had a discussion with him and said, when one of our fallen soldiers passed away, we kneel at his gravesite to show respect. Colin Kaepernick compromised on his stance and thought he was doing the right thing by kneeling and showing respect. And look at the negative. Like, that's what compromise does, where people just want to have the easy way out of a conversation by compromising, and then it can blow up in your face. I mean, look at how that has blown up on its end. And nobody even really knows about that first beginning part, that it was actually a compromise to show respect.
Right. But we don't also know what would have happened had he just done that. Like, what if he stayed in the locker room? Like, maybe what if he's worse off if he stays in the locker room? Maybe a guy stabs him while he's in the locker room. What then? It's like, you don't know. So to say that, like, him not negotiating or compromising was his downfall, I mean, that's kind of tough to say, right?
Well, I'd ask you, why was he sitting in the locker room in the first place?
Well, how much does that even matter?
Well, because the point of it is he wanted to show that the American flag was disrespecting minorities or whatever his case was. So he didn't want to salute the American flag. And people said, this is our civic responsibility. This field was bought under the pretense that we want to get everybody together and come together. And what's the most civic thing we can all do is when we hear the first few bars of the national anthem, we all stand up together and we unite. And he was protesting that. And he got away from his protest, whether you agree with it or disagree. I don't happen to agree with it. But he walked away and compromised instead of having the tough discussion to get to the root of the problem and work out a amicable solution for both sides. He compromised and went out and started kneeling on the field, and people even thought that was worse. It's just, it's lazy. It's just lazy.
I don't know. I don't know if it's he was doing that so that he could create a dialogue. He did that so that people would
dialogue?
Whatever whatever anybody's issue could be.
I've got it right here.
But obviously it's about, police brutality, all that stuff, but like that was his way of starting the dialogue. You can say, oh, he stayed inside the locker room and he compromised and now look at him, but like to say that we know what would have happened had he just stayed in the locker room, like what difference would it have made? People would have said, oh, he's staying in the locker room. Why is he doing that? He wants to talk about this issue. How's it any different than kneeling?
But there is no talking, and I think the kneeling was just a way to, as they got closer to having those discussions, to get heat off. I think it was a compromise. It was a compromise. He's getting a lot of heat. He's got money on the line. He's playing. He's getting pressure. It really kind of put him in a box.
What's interesting about this whole conversation, I mean, we can go back and forth about Kaepernick. That's been talked about so much. And as I'm skimming through the origin of all of it, it says I'm on Snopes because I never know what to believe sometimes. And it's like,
sure.
No, not that I was like fact checking you and the story.
Oh, I think you should. Yeah.
I think it actually happened.
Yeah, right.
I think
we
Kaepernick
all
was
agree
doing
it happened. I mean,
no. What it was saying was I was trying to look up the origin. The former player, he was a military guy that was telling him about it and see what.
Pat Tillman?
No,
what?
he died friendly fire a long time ago.
No, I know. I didn't.
Nate Boyer. He wasn't active like Tillman though. I don't think. He was a former Seahawk player, I believe. But the deal with that is it starts off with him Colin Kaepernick in a preseason game, sitting down on the bench, in street clothes, not in a uniform. And that was the beginning of the protest, not the knee. Small detail I find kind of interesting because preseason games kind of don't matter, and now they matter this year. But because everybody's getting injured because they're not in football shape.
Sure.
But it's one of those things where in preseason games, no one cares about him at all. And it was such a non-story because he's just sitting down during the national anthem. And it probably just looked, it didn't look it looked disrespectful, whereas the knee makes a statement.
I guess my thing was just,
I went more branded.
I don't know if, he stays in the locker room, how much different things would have been, is my point. That's all I'm saying is like, he stays in the locker room, and then we talk about it the same way, and he still gets blackballed from the NFL. Who knows? It's just, that's my point.
Eric, how about this one? This one will be more like binary, real easy.
Yeah, let's use a different example.
Let's use this one. This is a quick one. Want to make my wife happy. I consider myself, I want to capitulate. I want to play golf on the weekend. We're going out to dinner. She wants me to wear a certain outfit, of course, and she wants me to wear these white shoes. I got these black ones I want to wear. I need to wear them. They're my favorite. I'm just going to compromise and wear one of each.
Good. Married man.
Come on.
You know what you're doing.
You won't get. Does it get you laid?
No, the real answer is you wear gray shoes. That's the answer.
Yeah.
Got gray shoes over there?
Are you happily married?
No.
Okay. Then you won't understand that.
Right. We're both divorced.
Maybe we might understand it way more.
Yeah, right. Keith, you want to move in with us to our
Maybe
apartment?
you should have been compromising.
You can move in with us.
Oh no!
Once all this compromising gets done with.
And then you do it with lawyers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
you and lawyers cannot compromise and come
And
live
are
with
you
us.
happy about that when you compromise? Are you happy about that?
Sometimes it's nice to get things done.
it depends on context. The problem I have
Exactly.
with the problem I have with your questioning was it was so broad. You just said, you spoke in absolutes about it, and it's just like, no, well, there's a context for everything. Even your FBI hostage negotiator, he's got to put a bunch of variables together too, right? So there's a context within his segmented kind of specialty, right? But you're speaking in such broad strokes that everything isn't negotiated or is negotiated, right? And I know we're speaking shorthand. But
I'm trying to make the point that there's a lot of room between yes and no. If people just have more dialogue instead of as soon as everybody gets to a point.
So a negotiation.
When they're negotiating, they're like, this is uncomfortable. How do I get out of this situation? And it's usually a compromise because that's just the quickest way to get away from it. Instead of maybe.
But you see compromise as surrender.
Creatively out. Say that again.
You see compromise as surrender. You see it as a loss
or
always.
Weakness.
And compromise.
I see it as an easy way out.
I don't know if compromise implicitly means you lost.
I didn't say lose. No, there is no win-lose.
Oh, I'm using it. I'm defining it for you in the context of which you're giving it to us.
Right.
Because every scenario you've used, both this episode and last episode, has been a situation where it has had a disagreeable face with it, right? You have not presented an example of compromise in a good light. How about that?
Yeah, that's true.
Do
I have lawyer's logic? Yeah. I think in a contrarian way. I try to see both sides of an argument kind of at the same time and like flip the coin on the other side. Why don't we do this? Why don't you two show me an example where two parties came to a table with agendas, they compromised and they left the table ecstatic on, wow, this was a great deal for both of us. Give me one good example. There's mutually beneficial deals that happen. You don't think so?
I didn't say anything.
I mean, I've done them. I've done mutually beneficial deals.
Fantasy football
And you were
trade.
extremely happy when you left that table after compromising, said, I am so glad I just compromised on that deal.
Or maybe I negotiated.
So you lied.
I lied? How do you lie?
I don't know. I mean, I don't understand.
Again, compromise. It sounds like compromise. Is a pejorative in your head, and it's still me. It's
a what?
A pejorative. It mainly is a. It mainly a lot of people use it in the context of compromise being kind of like.
At least
you
neutral.
Lost. Yeah.
At least neutral.
Or you didn't get everything out of what you wanted. You lost a little bit. And the example you're giving is, I do like what you're saying about compromising out of an argument because people will do that, right? But at the same time, it's a surrendering to leave the conversation. So yeah, in that respect, I just think that's an interesting side thing you brought up, because a lot of people will not go into detail about an argument, and they will. I've done it when I get my brow beaten
Of course.
by the aforementioned ex-wife of like just going over stuff too much, and I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. Then I'll do it, and then you're right. And that's in that situation, yes. Because I just want to leave. I just want to stop this thing from happening.
You want to preserve the relationship, but you want them to leave you alone.
But that could be considered a win on that side too, because you're preserving it now. You're eating it now to preserve it later.
Well, to me, it's
So
just
the desired the desired result you want at the end may not happen right there, but it does have the intended consequences later.
it's just it seems unrealistic to me. I'll put it that way. Like to piggyback on what Law is saying about it comes across like a loss or a pejorative sort of situation. That means that every situation has a winner and a loser. And that's saying that you expect to win or bat 1,000 every time. And that just, because if you're not, then you're giving in a little bit as to what somebody else is wanting, and then you're compromising.
So
like, you know what I'm saying?
It
Like
feels like a logic college class where you have to debate. Like,
it just seems unrealistic to say never compromise, because I mean I'm a 37-year-old man. I know for a fact that is not possible. I just there's no way you can just never compromise without coming across like kind of an asshole. You know, like how do you not be an asshole in this situation? You know what I'm saying?
With empathy.
Sure.
Weapons grade empathy.
Okay.
Tactical empathy.
Okay.
All right.
And could you give me an example of that? Where you're
It
getting what
sounds
you
like-
want, but also showing empathy.
Yeah. I mean, it's been said the art of negotiation is letting the other side have your way, and you would do that through either a series of open-ended questions, building rapport by either labeling someone's emotions, making the situation empathy. It's seek first to understand, then be understood. So I need to listen to you and further this conversation for you to kind of let your guard down, feel comfortable, and tell me what it is you're really after. And I talk about compromise in the context of sales mostly, and I try and teach our salespeople is customer comes in and says, listen, I want this door and I want you to knock the price off. And if they just started saying, yeah, we'll just compromise, I'll knock the price off, I wouldn't be able to continue to grow this business. A lot of these customers, there's things that are more important to them that they're not even aware of until we bring to their attention, because they're not buying frameless shower doors every day. That's our job as a professional, to hear what their opportunity or problems are, sound them back to them so we can build rapport and trust, and then show them the solutions to solve the problems that brought them in. And usually price is third or fourth on the list, even though they come in and they say, we're just looking for something cheap. We just need, what's that price right there? We want that. And, that's all we're looking for. And if I could slow things down and point out a few emotions that my gut's telling me, your intuition kicks in, and if I and help build rapport and trust-based influence, I can start to direct that path into a meaningful collaboration for both people, not a win-lose. It'd be more like a win-win. Without having to compromise, because they came in and said, the price is too much, I need something cheaper. And I didn't just capitulate. I used some of the skill set to kind of unlock those unknown unknowns that they weren't willing to tell me when they first came into the showroom. Therefore, not having to compromise right out of the gate.
I don't know.
Does that make
It
sense?
sounds like circular logic. No. No,
It just sounds like a way of
If it's business,
it's
then
market research more than anything. I don't know if it's empathy more than it is just asking the right questions to figure out what their needs are. You know what I'm saying?
Well, what is empathy, Eric?
I think it's the idea that you can sort of feel what other people are feeling, put yourself in their shoes, and try and
You don't
understand.
have to like it or agree with it, but you're right. Just to understand where they're coming from. You know, what brought them in, what's causing them to act this way, what's causing them to reach out this way. Instead of combating it with a statement or an order or demand, I would use empathy.
All right.
Yeah, we agree with that for sure. But I'm saying like the way this was the way this was originally positioned was overall just business, non-business. Compromise is not an option for you. And I remember last episode you gave us an example where you did compromise with something with your wife.
Yes.
And I was like,
yes.
What are we
I'm not
doing here?
happy about it.
Well, what are we doing here?
I'm learning.
You compromised.
I'm learning.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay,
I'm
because
learning
the
too,
way you
man.
were talking about it is like this is what you follow. That's the way it was coming out. Was like,
Keith, I cleared out my extra bedroom. I was like, oh, this guy's going to be moving in here in no time. No compromise my ass. Come on over.
I'm telling you, I'm getting better at not compromising because I'm
That's not no.
That's not a good
no,
thing.
that's not how you got to. As you get older, you cut you're tuned down. You chill out a little bit and you compromise more as you get older.
I have more meaningful dialogue to present more opportunities for myself and for my wife by not just compromising. Can I go do this? No, okay, and then just walk away from each other. And now we're both happy because we're out of each other's hair. I'll.
that's like a lose-lose, really. So the outcome is different than the what you would consider compromising, right? So you can win-win, not compromise or compromise. You could lose-lose, compromise, not compromise. Or win-lose, compromise, not compromise. It doesn't, the result of what happens at the end, it could be different for both parties. That guy that came in to get a shower door, you could have sold it to him, right? He could have thought he got upsell as soon as he walked out of there, right? Oh, I got manipulated because this guy was asking me about my golf game.
I want to
Give me that hard compromise question.
I want to be very clear. There's zero.
Not you.
There's no one-off deal, especially with the internet now. That would never be the intention. I'm never going to sell somebody something they don't need. I can promise you that because it'll show up real quick.
I shouldn't have used you as the
everything's
example.
magnified.
Just in generality,
Yeah.
somebody walks into a store, they feel like as they're talking to the salesman, great deal, and then they walk out and they're like, oh my god, what did I just do? Buying a car or something crazy.
Yeah, because a lot of it's about incentives too. So when you're talking about the hostage negotiator or the negotiator FBI guy, he's looking at the incentives of that guy while he's talking to him, he's not calling him and going, hey, stop that douchebag. He's doing like, hey, I understand where you're at. I understand you've got kids. I understand what happened to you from this issue in the past. So he's using empathy as not weaponizing it, but he's using it as leverage, right?
Why is that not weaponizing it? It's tactical. He knows exactly what he's doing. It's purposeful.
You're right. You're probably right.
I think
actually.
weaponizing would be a call to action. I think
It is a call to action.
He's not.
He's
no, he
picking
hasn't
up the phone and he's calling.
No,
with
no.
empathy.
I'm saying in talking to him, giving him a call to action, giving him a directive, giving him.
No, I say what you're saying, Keith. Like that, you're right. He doesn't necessarily really actually care what this person has gone through. Like,
No.
what they really care about is saving lives
Yeah.
or whatever. So, but they're going to be, they're weaponizing empathy. It's what they're doing, really, and
Well, I was trying to go to the front part of the conversation, I guess, in my head
my
when
bad.
he's talking to him. So that's why, because empathy to me, when you're talking to someone in any kind of like conflict, be it business, sales, or something extreme like the negotiating thing with a hostage negotiator, whatever. I think I always have it in my head that if you're going to have a strategy of being empathetic and listening to the problems, it's always front loaded. So that's my bad. I'm so used to doing that in meetings that I just assume y'all knew what I was talking about.
front loaded how?
Like in the beginning of the conversation. So when I do any intro call with someone, I just tell them straight up, hey, I'm going to just spend this hour trying to listen to you as much as I can. And ask
Oh,
more
I
questions.
see. Just trying to figure out what they need.
This is our working relationship. This is the beginning of it. If this is the beginning of it, I want to, and I tell them now, I want to show you that I am listening to you, because I feel like that's something a lot of people in my industry don't do. That's how I weave in a competitive advantage, right? But I do it naturally anyway. I was doing it before I knew it was a process, because I'm always like, how can you solve a problem if you don't know the problems? And if you don't know, if a lot of problems have a little bit more nuance than,
They all do.
Yeah.
Everything has nuance.
Right. There's more. I like the minutia. I like detail in a problem, or even like a joke or a story, whatever it is. The minutia, the little things in it, are what I think are important sometimes.
I couldn't agree with you more. It's like Tony Robbins, a little 2 millimeter shift.
What's that?
Is that where it shoots off in a different direction, thousands of
No,
miles?
just
certain
you
little
said
bit?
the little minutia, the little difference.
No,
like
what's
when we're
the Tony
so
Robbins
one
thing?
of them would be an encourager, would be another one of their tactics is mirroring.
Yeah.
So
So what is that?
And that's sometimes how you get those unknown unknowns to come out, because you're doing multiple things at once. You're building rapport. You're showing the other person that you're listening, because I just repeated one or two of the things that you just said. But most human beings have this, when they hear that being said back to them with deference, they want to expand and use other words and start, talking more. And, a good listener listens while other people talk. And sometimes it's better to encourage people to talk more, because you're building rapport, you're building trust. And when they let their guard down, they're more apt to tell you things that they normally wouldn't have told you when they first walked in, because they're expecting every used car salesman to say, "You here to buy a car today?" Or they've been beaten by whatever you were saying earlier. You're kind of anticipating this being a sleazy kind of situation because it's a salesman.
Well, I mean, first dates are similar too. The way I see it, because I could be very. I can talk about myself, whatever. I can do it.
Day.
I'm up my own ass all the time. Not narcissistic, just self-absorbed. But I'm saying there is a difference.
Okay.
But I'm saying that I notice like any date for the first time you're going out with someone, it's very similar to me, because I'm in my head. I'm like, don't try to just. My issue is trying to be too funny, or try to entertain too much, or whatever.
Oh, don't be too funny, Law.
Well, no,
you don't want her to pee her pants with you.
No, it's pushing rope, because the more I try to do it, the less successful I'll be. Right? Especially like on this show. And so the more it's same in like a sales thing too. The more you try to go all this stuff.
Sorry.
Because you got to.
Are you talking right now?
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, it's better to ask questions and be curious, right?
Yes.
Curiosity is awesome.
Yeah, no, I found myself in that position out at the bars the other night, and I'm like, oh, I should think of some questions to ask. But I also don't care about the answers, so I just kind of trailed off.
Because you didn't care about the situation too
Right.
much. Like, because the desired outcome is not worth
The effort.
Yeah, the cost
of
benefit
me
of doing
thinking
it.
about a question.
Yeah, because you're like,
And that was straight up what it was. I was like,
right.
you can keep talking, I guess, but I don't.
I guess I think in expected results or desired results, or what could potentially happen percentage wise too, right?
Definitely what I was thinking about. I was running the percentages. I was running the numbers in my head.
You
know, what
were,
are
but
the-
you're not doing it like Rain Man. You're just
No, I was. I threw a bunch of cards on the ground. I was like, it was not a love
and
connection.
you're like, pick those up, bitch. And she's like, I'm leaving. You're like, God damn it. Like,
Yeah.
That didn't work.
Right.
But yeah, I think so mirroring, right? I don't know if we got to what you were saying about that. It's just kind of it's what you think it is when you're talking to someone in any
We
kind of.
definitely talked. Keith explained the whole thing.
Okay, maybe I missed that.
We're paying
Sorry.
attention.
We got a lot of irons in the fire.
You missed that?
Yes, he wasn't paying attention.
I was
Straight
paying
up.
attention. I was here.
He said, "How about mirroring?" And then he went on to
I
talk
didn't know
about
if you
it.
had
the
more.
next-
I didn't know if you had more of that definition or more of the tactics. How about that?
of
So
mirroring.
later when you rewind the show, we just did it there twice, and when I did it, you just kept talking and talking and talking.
Yes.
So what you're doing is you're just repeating 1 to 3 ish words, or when you get real good at it, the important word. But the key to
I
it is
feel like he does that
deference.
sometimes. Yeah, constantly.
Oh, Eric gets it. Yeah.
Constantly.
I
No.
feel like that's what he does. That's
He's
what,
mirroring it. Yeah.
and so it's doing 2 things at once. It's building rapport, and you're going into their kind of subconscious to help trigger a gut instinct, intuition. Right? You're kind of connecting their thoughts, and it's allowing them to speak more. And when you let your guard down, you start telling your truth. What's on your mind. And at the end of the day, I want to help them. I want to know what's on their mind. Sometimes people just need help because they've been battered by used car salesmen and creepy guys at the bars and all types of podcasters.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And these are
2 out of 3, baby.
These will be some of the skill sets to help kind of walk your way through that, so you can ultimately help whoever you're trying to collaborate with.
What other tactics? I like knowing the names of these things. Like it's kind of keep it. I don't know. Articulate
mirroring, labeling, accusations, audit. There's you can Google it. It's like the FBI 8 or something they call it. But very all neuroscience based stuff. Harvard, Quantico rewrote the book on negotiation based on this skill set. It's pretty fascinating stuff.
He's looking it up. Earlier on, Keith, he had the definition of the word
I spelled
comprise
it wrong.
pulled up.
I can
see him looking at it like, oh, I'm gonna get Keith so good.
No.
He's not even close.
I'm trying to pay attention, and I'm like,
what is he looking at? Wow,
I know,
idiots.
That looked bad over here, but glad you brought it up.
That's funny.
That's way to yes.
I wasn't gonna let that go.
Yes, and the show.
I wasn't gonna let that go. Yeah, I'm yes-anding myself. Thank you.
Yeah.
At the very end. I don't need you.
But yeah.
Yes, and.
What's I guess what other sales kind of tips can you give anybody listening? That look, I read that Harvard Business Review case a long time ago that everybody's a salesman, no matter if you're actually in outside sales, inside sales, or your middle management. You're selling an idea to your boss, your middle management, and you're selling it down to your employees. You're delegating your subordinates, I should say. You're delegating to. So everybody's a salesman. Once I read that, it made sales less icky. I feel like you're getting into you're getting into varsity level stuff here as far as getting better, which is cool. You're continuously improving your skill set. What are some tips you can tell people, that are doing that side hustle, that have to do sales and hate it, right? I come across a lot of people that are doing their own thing on the side.
Yeah.
But the part they hate the most is the hard sales or like closing a deal or any of that. And so any pragmatic tips would be great.
And thank you for asking me that. I started this business in 2003 with my brother and father, and for the last 3, I kind of felt like I was falling into a rut. I knew our industry, I knew our product, we went vertical, but I was just kind of going through the motions. And when I came across this, it changed everything for me. It reinvigorated me, and I always knew there was more. I just didn't know what it was, and I thought I could just wow people with value proposition and always pitching them our product and why we're better. And I would say the most beneficial thing that I've really learned over the last year and a half was not only how to be a better listener, but then what I'm actually listening for. So I'm not just, I know it's real cliche to just say be a better listener, but I'm actually listening for 1 or 2 nuggets of gold that I'm going to highlight and subtly, innocuously have the customer expand upon. And then I'm going to offer solutions in a manner that they're going to tell me. And they're going to leave there going, I don't know what just happened, but that was one of the best experiences I've ever had. And I would definitely do business with that person again. And so that all started with just listening. And then what am I listening for? I'm listening for emotion. They say there's 3 different types of people. The caveman was a fight, flight, or mate. And translation that to today would be like an assertive, aggressive person, an analytical person, and then, like the friend-oriented person. And if you really look at all the different type of customers, everybody really boils down into those three buckets. And depending on what animalistic traits you have there's certain of those skill sets the FBI has that gravitate more towards one versus the other. Like the mirroring is something to be used with an aggressive, assertive person because they like to talk. What's most important to an aggressive, assertive, which is my natural born type, is knowing that people listen to what I had to say. That's the most important. And so when you can recognize that when you're talking to a prospect, directing the certain skill sets with the appropriate subtype, the fight, flight, or mate friends, the aggressive, assertive, analytical, it really opens the doors to them telling you what they really want and just getting to the point a lot quicker. Saves time, saves a lot of time by listening instead of me just jamming down all the information and showing how knowledgeable I am and all the awards and our manufacturing and actually it's just quicker to hurry up and listen and then point out a few of those things and then boom, we can get to doing business. It's actually a lot faster.
Oh, that's interesting. I like that.
So being a good listener, I would say would probably be the best thing, but then listening for something in particular. If your gut's telling you something, that's what you want to act on because your gut is triggered by your intuition, your subconscious. So interesting fact, I was reading that. Do you know how much information your conscious mind brings in per second? They said if you close your eyes, open your eyes for 1 second, you bring in 40 points of data per second. Your subconscious, they say, is in the neighborhood of like 30 million per second because you got the depths, the sizes, the sounds. That's how we breathe. We don't even think about it. We're just subconsciously doing it. So when you do some of these labels or mirrors or some of these other skill sets, you're triggering their intuition, and it's throwing it down to their gut saying, I don't know, but I'm kind of on the fence, but this just feels right. We've all had that. It just feels right. Well, where does that come from? It comes from your intuition and your subconscious mind. And if you can use these skill sets, it helps drop all that stuff into their subconscious mind, hopefully triggering that gut instinct to say, wow, I need to go on this podcast with these two guys. They're fucking brilliant. I don't know what it is, but the way they talk to me is brilliant.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Way to sweeten
the
that.
way you ended
it.
Really brought it.
You can butter
gathered
our bread.
a lot of steam at the end there.
You can come on anytime, butter our bread. That's
nice.
fine. I had.
Here's another one.
Here's another
one. When you're likable, you're 6 times more likely to do a deal with someone. If the customer will likely, they're 6 times more likely to do business with me just being likable. So there's another thing about copper. They're 6 times more likely to do business with me if they like me. And I don't have to change my position on anything other than being likable.
Yeah, that worked for us too.
Yeah,
we would find ourselves hanging out with clients, like just they wanted to be around us, that sort of thing. It was a nice bonus.
Yeah, I always looked at it. Can we hang with them if we had to do an overnight war room session? Like, be that kind of almost business colleague friend because they're not hiring us full time. We're coming in and kind of working with them, collaborating with them quickly, and then they got to do a bunch of stuff. So if our phone rings to them to ask them a question and they go, ugh, and they're hiring us, that's bad.
Yes.
And you never want to be that. And you can just really be polite and listen a lot of the time. But also, it's a lot of those other subconscious things as well, like you're talking about. Just, I was telling you, I have to remember to smile before I go on stage, like while you're doing jokes, or you have resting bitch face.
I know.
People think that, not having a good time while I'm telling jokes. And I've noticed like that little thing changes the set for me dramatically.
Yeah.
Wow, that's brilliant. That is so true. In that same study, they said just the smiling is wired to these mirror neurons that make you 31% smarter just by smiling. It's like, what a hack that is.
Yeah.
31%. If you were to go to the casino, and I told you, if you just smile, you're going to have a 31% more chance of you'd smile every time.
There's so much stuff that if you just do it, just smile, just do it first, you feel happier.
And if you
afterwards, the action coming first leads to the result that you want, if that makes sense. Momentum creates itself, if that makes sense.
Sees it.
How about the theory
like
of
action comes first and then momentum? Does that make sense?
Well, if you're not having a good time, they're not having a good time. It's kind of the theory.
Okay, way to mess up my awesome knowledge.
I just kept it. Well, I'm giving something to take away on a cocktail now.
Yeah, I just did.
Yeah.
And then you shit on it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
No, it's the same. We're saying the same thing, man. No. But yeah. This is interesting, man. We got to cut it off pretty soon. But any other tips you got? Sales tips, otherwise. I was always I was in the camp of I had a boss that told me I was in the salon suite business, meeting a lot of hairstylists, and he's like, just ask them one question, they will talk for the whole hour, and that's the profile of a stylist because they absorb everybody else's crazy, right? They're trying to start their own salon to get out of salon drama from the previous place. It's not to make more money, which I thought it was, but he goes, here's what I want you to do though. I want you to get these 10 pieces of information out of that conversation. So it was almost like a game. And he's like, if you can get
social security number, mother's maiden name, date of birth, all that.
He's like, if you can get what their previous salon charged, what kind of setup they had, if they sell retail, if they do this, if they do these 5 things too, if they have friends that are frustrated as well, that's going to help our sales. It's going to make your life easier.
Are they hot?
That's trouble because it's like there's a lot of women in one roof, and I'd be the only dude in there a lot of the time. So
nice.
Yeah. No, I was married at the time and never strayed. But I'm saying,
what's the matter now, huh?
It's when
Am I right?
It's all for naught. No.
Should have been.
I never compromised my morals on that.
Good man.
Going to a callback from the first episode, you're talking about character and all that stuff.
Me too, for the record, I guess. Hashtag.
Yeah. Just miserably don't get asked for a while. So that thing of I'm helping someone. I'm helping an agency. They hired me to help them with their business development style. And I'm going through each meeting, and I was talking to them about that. Like, you want to come away with that meeting and have some information to be able to help with that proposal. Now, yours is a little bit different because you might have more people. In the scenario you're giving, it sounds more retail than it is like a big contracted deal. But same thing goes. Even when you're meeting them in the parking lot to walk them in, those little things matter,
Everywhere. These things work only when you're talking to humans. Really doesn't matter what you're selling. If you ask, I want and I need, you're in a negotiation. These skills will work.
Yeah. Well, right on. Well, thanks for coming on again. And, yeah.
Yeah, man. Let's do it again. That's fun.
Let's do it.
It's fun. All right.
All right, guys.
MyShowerDoor.com for everybody out there. Thanks for coming on, man.
Thank you, guys. Have a great night.